Hey everyone! Today we are diving into the world of complex sentences. I understand grammar can be a bit of a brain teaser, but don't worry, we'll make it simple and fun. Have you ever wondered why complex sentences are more than just grammar rules? You know, they are your secret weapon in both writing and speaking exams, helping you take your score to the next level. So let's explore them. But before we jump into complex sentences, let's just start with the basics. The independent sentences, or you can simply say simple sentences. Simple sentences are the ones that can stand alone as a complete thought, and they typically contain a subject and a verb. Let's just see how this works. Sarah loves ice cream. You see, it's a short and a complete idea. Hence, it has a subject that's Sarah and a verb that's loves. Now, let's see this sentence. Staying active is important. It's also a simple sentence. You know why? Because it has a subject which is staying active and a verb which is. So, both sentences are simple because they have a subject and a verb and that express clear and complete thoughts. Now that we've figured out what an independent clause is, means a simple sentence, we are ready to craft our first complex sentence structure, a compound sentence. To do this, we join two simple sentences with a coordinating conjunction and a comma. See how easy this is. But what are coordinating conjunctions? Well, they are words like and, but, so, and yet, used to connect words, phrases, and clauses. We often use the acronym FANBOYS, which helps us learn these 7 conjunctions. Imagine this sentence is like a puzzle with 2 pieces. The first piece says, good health is central to human happiness. And the second piece says, staying active is important. Now, when we want to connect these 2 pieces together and turn them into a compound sentence, we use the coordinating conjunction so. But to make it clear, neat, we put a comma before this conjunction. Another way to form complex sentences is by using subordinate clauses, or you might also call them as dependent clauses. But before we learn how to create complex sentences using a subordinate clause, let's just grasp what this clause is and how do we form it. So, a dependent clause means a subordinate clause is a sentence that starts with special words called subordinate conjunctions. You know, words like cause, although, while, and so that are some common ones. These are just a few examples of many subordinate conjunctions out there. Now, we know what a subordinate clause is and obviously how we form it. So, let's just learn how to form a complex sentence using a dependent clause. To create a complex sentence, we simply combine a subordinate clause with a simple sentence. But you know what's fascinating is that we have options. We can use the subordinate clause at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. Remember, we only use a comma when the dependent clause comes first. Did you get my point? Take, for instance, this sentence. Since good health is central to human happiness, staying active is important. What we have done here is to bring together one dependent clause and one simple sentence to craft a complex sentence. As I mentioned earlier, we can switch things up. Check out the similar example. The only change is we shifted the dependent clause to the end of the sentence. Now we are going to tackle the third kind of complex sentences, the mysterious conditional sentences. To create conditional sentences, we just simply connect one if clause and one simple sentence. These sentences express a condition or a hypothetical situation and its possible outcome. Just like subordinate clauses, we can shuffle the position of the if clause. That means it can come at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. And a comma is used only when the if clause comes first. There are in fact four types of conditionals, but today we'll learn to make the first conditional. You know why? Because this is the most common one used in writing and speaking exams. We use the first conditionals to indicate likely or a possible situation in the future and the consequence or result of that situation if it comes true. To make the first conditional, we always have a present tense in the if clause and a future simple tense in the main clause, means the simple sentence. Now let's just see it in action. If schools incorporate more technology into their classrooms, students will have access to a wider range of educational resources. If clause here shows a possible situation in the future and the result means the outcome is students get more educational resources. Now check this out. If clause here sets up a likely situation which is not studying for the test, and the result will be your grades will be scarier than a ghost. Do you have any such examples of conditional sentences? Do share with me in the comment section. The relative clause is another fantastic way to form complex sentences. These clauses begin with words like that, who, or which, and provide more information about something you've already mentioned. To craft a complex sentence, we just simply combine an independent clause with a relative clause. There are two types of relative clauses, the essential and the non essential clauses. But I call them as the must haves and the nice to haves. Essential relative clauses means the must haves, like the main ingredients in a recipe. You can't make the dish without them. They provide crucial information and don't have commas. Non essential relative clauses means the nice to haves, on the other hand, like sprinkles on top of your ice cream, they add extra flavor but aren't necessary. You use commas to set them apart. And if you remove the non essential clause, the remaining sentence still makes sense. Now, let's just see how it works. The book that I'm reading is very interesting. It's a beautiful example of the essential clause. The clause that I'm reading is a relative clause here. You know why? Because if I remove this clause, the remaining sentence sounds so weird. It makes you wonder which book is very interesting. So, we need an essential relative clause to show that the book I am reading is interesting. Now, let's see the example of the non essential clause. The new policy aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which is good for the environment. Which clause is a non essential relative clause here? because the meaning would still be clear even if I omit this clause. Let's just do this. You see, main sentence, the new policy aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, still looks fine and complete without the which clause, isn't it? Thanks a million for tuning in. If you found this video useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this video. Obviously, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comment section below. I'd be happy to help. Goodbye.